on. And there we have the recording as well. That's excellent. If you have any questions at any point, please type in the chat box. I've set aside time for questions, for discussions. So please remember to ask away. But first off, I want to ask you something. So please, if you would go on to menti.com and use the code 83567138. I can't access the chat right now, but if you want to help me type in the code, so it's menti.com and then the code is 83567138. So just go on and use your smartphone so that you can follow the presentation on the screen. So hopefully soon enough, we'll be seeing our word cloud growing. Fingers crossed. I think we've had our fair share of technical issues. So I am hoping for this word cloud. So what does change mean to you? A very inductive question. And I think Menti will ask you for 3 words. If you know of 1, that's fine. If you can give me 2, even better. And this should hopefully be growing pretty soon. There we go. Wow. What a relief. Okay, we have inconvenience. We have constant. Okay, I love the first 2 words here. We're growing. Better future. We have habit. We have shock. I love that. Evolution. That's also a very, very nice one. Resistance also comes with it. So let's see if this one will keep on growing. And I will also obviously return to the topic of change. Yeah, there we go. We have some more. We have evolution as the biggest one, meaning that, yeah, quite a few typed evolution. So that is super interesting. I also have not the same. That is correct. And challenges. I love that, challenges. I also, and that's the psychologist in me, I love habits. So we'll be talking about habits as well. So I will take a mental screenshot of this and return to this in my presentation. It is growing, so I can't really stop. I can't change the slides because you excite me with this. Resistance, again, we have shock, inevitable. Okay, I need to move on, being conscious of time. Progress. So let's return to this in a bit. Thank you so much for participating. This is a great word cloud, and I will share it with you and PMI later as well. So we've kicked off, and I told you that I will be talking about my own venture, ourchoice.eco. So I want to say a few words about what I think change is, or what I thought change was, and what it was like for me founding a green company. I think change is challenging status quo, and we also saw a challenge on the word cloud, and wanting to change things. So we need to do something differently, and we also had shock in that word cloud. So yeah, maybe I was looking to shock the world, but I also wanted to go beyond traditional business models. I wanted to go beyond traditional marketing and traditional partners. The goal, so what was my goal doing all of this? Of course, change, but I wanted to do something about it because we talk a lot about SDGs and ESG investments, and we talk about becoming sustainable and changing our habits, but it's a bit provoking only reading about it. And I'm also a restless soul. So I wanted to properly do something. And I also set out to build the biggest brand on the planet. So yes, I am one of those annoying guy. I believe that the sky is the limit. So you will have to bear with me. And I want to show you directly what that looked like. So here is us launching the business in November 2020. We did it on Kickstarter. And again, I'm praying for the sound to convert.
Sound is not playing, Filip.
Sound is not working, right?
when you hit share, there was a button in the bottom left to enhance sound. So if you share again and look down in the bottom left of the share box.
Yes, should be working. Can you see it?
Yeah, perfect now.
Great, thanks for helping out.
When all my broken sneakers started to pile up in the wardrobe, I realized that we have a problem. Sneakers are made from plastics, and plastic is not mendable. My name is Philip, and I'm one of the founders of Our Choice Fashion. How many times did this happen to you? How can eco sneakers save the world when they break after only a few months? How many times did this happen to you? How can eco sneakers save the world when they break after only a few months and we have to buy pair after pair that breaks? We are here to give you the solution, a choice for truly sustainable fashion in the world's first circular sneakers. On average, we all buy 3 pairs of sneakers each and every year. This adds up to 25 billion sneakers per year, of which most end up in landfills. This adds up to 350 million tons of CO2 emissions, the same amount as for the country of Italy or the state of California. So we started to develop a product that would have all the old-fashioned qualities. It is mendable, it has a classic design, and it has a natural comfort. Because we chose the best designer there is, Mother Nature. The sneakers get more and more comfortable the more you wear them. Made from vegetable tan leather and natural latex from the rubber tree, the sneakers are both sustainable and comfortable. These sneakers are made from pure raw materials that are both fully biodegradable and fully recyclable. The best thing here really is that when your sneakers need an upgrade, you just send them right back to us using the same bag that you got them delivered in. We then resole your sneakers, put on a fresh pair of laces, and give them a nice new polish. This means that you can wear your sneakers for many years to come. Our sneakers are more than sneakers. They are a circular function, and we developed a smart pull for you to step into your sneakers without stepping down the heel. This means that you get a truly sustainable grip. We've got a fully circular business model, and that's why we'll only produce sneakers on your demand. Book your product now and get that sustainable grip at a discount.
Yes, so I will stop there. So that is a commercial video for you. Apologies again for the technical glitch. I hope that you can still hear me. So here we have the results. So we set out to build the biggest brand on the planet. We launched this Kickstarter. I had my friends involved. I had, basically everyone I know involved in this production. So how did we do? Well, assessing this, and assessment is always key building a business. We need to do what works. So looking at the numbers, we sold products for 40,000 euros. We saved 3,000 kilos of CO2. We cleaned up and recycled 250 kilos of ocean plastics. And we validated the concept of circular economy in fashion. Here, I have a few bolder points. So I'm writing awareness in the space, I'm writing community builds, and I'm writing traction. So the last 3 here is really what we did best. I'm happy with the numbers as such, but it's pretty clear that we did not build the biggest brand on the planet only with this campaign. So how could we move forward? Well, I want to sort of zoom in on these last 3 points, and I want to share something in regards to traction. So people loved the campaign. People loved what we were doing. I had many journalists call me. I think I've been featured in about 50 articles over the last 8 months. We've done collaborations with universities. We have also, or I won something called the Circular by Design Challenge by Lux Innovation in Luxembourg. We have a partnership with Goodyear, And it's been great. I'm very honored and of course proud. But what I'm most proud of is this article right here. It's from Authority Magazine and something called Thrive Global. They've dubbed me a young social impact hero because I'm helping to change the world. And the article is nice, but after the article was released, I started getting phone calls from school teachers in India. And these teachers, they would tell me, hey, Philip, we saw your campaign and we brought that one into the classroom, and we brought circular economy into the classroom. And I have 20 to 40 comments from 10 to 12-year-olds about circular economy and sneakers, if you care to take a look. And I remember tearing up. I was very moved, and I realized that we were doing something bigger. It wasn't about the sneakers, it was about the impact. So I set out selling sneakers and I ended up doing something completely different. And if you think about the numbers, so of course we can measure the CO2 emissions that we save per pair sold. But the impact that we're having across the globe is really, we can't measure it, because if we have 10 and 12-year-olds changing their habits and their sort of a view on the world, well, we're really doing something, and that is impact. So that is the key part of the assessment, or the positive part. I love the numbers, but I think this really got us further, and also it crystallized where we needed to head next. What I just said, we created value and meaning, we provided transparency, and we built a community. So the reason people loved what we were doing is because we were telling the truth. We were talking about the fashion industry, and you saw the Kickstarter and the nasty numbers that I mentioned. But people came together and people found the campaign meaningful, even though we did not build the biggest brand on the planet with one Kickstarter campaign. And I started thinking, naturally reflecting, so how can we change fashion consumption? How can we change behavior in a culture where we're so used to taking, making, and wasting stuff? And when fashion is very cheap, if you like, people buy things that they do not need, and they only pay a few euros for it. So how can we do that? And the answer is by doing just that. So by creating value, by creating meaning, and providing the transparency, we can build this community, and that will have a ripple effect, actually educating populations and demographics that we've never thought about. So we needed to do more of that part. And I realized that it was not about the what. So the what here being the sneakers, and the how being that they are repairable, recyclable, and the best sneakers you can possibly get. It's not about that necessarily, but it's about the why. So why are we doing this? And thinking about the why and innovation is very interesting, because traditionally we talk about a problem and we talk about a solution. And you can also see that in the video. It's a very commercial piece, and we say we're here to give you the solution. But we also talk about the why. So the why is what we are keeping. And I want to mention a professor and a researcher in the field of meaningful innovation. His name is Roberto Verganti. So he is studying just what I'm talking about, meaningful innovation, and how today we have solutions, we have new innovations coming, pretty often, I'd say. And we like innovation, we like new things, but users and customers are not getting things out of necessity, because we're overcrowded with options. We are overcrowded with messaging and marketing, but it's about what you as a customer or user find meaningful. So think about being offered 3 cups or 3 desks. You get to decide what to buy. And maybe you look at the packaging, maybe you look at the label, maybe you want to impress your coworkers having a fancier desk. It's just an example, but my point is that it's up to us, and we buy what we find meaningful. So what we could do was that we could, and honestly, I never heard about Roberto Berganti when I started this. So finding his research and finding his model, it's very clear that we did this. And if you look to your left, you can also see communication. And that's also one of the key factors for us and the campaign. So we launched in November 2020, but we only delivered our goods, our sneakers, in September 2021. So in between, what we did was communication. We talked about our why and our purpose and our vision. And I'm honest when I'm saying that we don't have one angry notes or one dissatisfied customer, even though we are 8 to 10 months delayed. So this is a huge tip. Check out Roberto Berganti and Meaningful Innovation. I can only dig so deep in this presentation, but this piece of research actually led us to our next step. And that has been an organic journey. So we have the assessment. We said, okay, this is what we did well. These are the numbers. This is what we can work with. But what I just said about communication, that is an internal resource that we have. So that is what we did. We did a good job, and that's what we can keep on doing. But I also want to mention change. And we talked about that initially. That can be a shock, that can be inconvenient, and it was for me, and it has been for me. But today I speak for myself and I speak for the team, that change for us now, before it was challenging status quo. Today it is becoming comfortable with the uncomfortable. So if you think about it, the more uncomfortable we are, the more challenges we meet, the more we grow. So it's a matter of accepting that it will be uncomfortable running a fashion startup or any new business really, and making that comfortable or finding that comfortable. And that is of course a process. And I can see that the meaning has been flowing from inside and out. So from the team and from our communication to our community. Transparency is also a huge part of it. And that is us saying and being super frank about the industry, about what we want to do, about that we want to see circular fashion. So no filter, no facade, if you like, and people love us for it. So if we can marry our internal resources, our new perception of change, and transparency.
I have a remark here. Can
Please.
you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so you might have to repeat. It's actually a text a chat that's available for everyone so they can read it as well.
Perfect.
Question, are you wearing your sneakers today?
Do you want to see them?
Yes.
I've never done this on camera, but I will. Can you see them? No?
Can you see them? Yeah, yeah.
There we go.
Yes.
I wish that I could jump.
Are they
And
comfortable enough to jump? Are they comfortable?
do you want me to jump on the chair?
No. Safety.
Because I will do it.
Safety.
Safety first. Thank you for thinking about my welfare. Yes, I am wearing the sneakers. Yeah, was that the question or the remark?
So yeah, that was from Brian, and Lugomira says she thought the same. Philip, would be good to see you on stage instead of virtual. So next time.
Next time, I would be honored to.
Do they come in different colors?
Can people buy your sneakers?
People are buying our sneakers, and they come in different colors. We have white, we have black, we have different combinations. So if you want to reach out to me at the end of the presentation, I will give you the full scope and our product range. Thank you for the lovely comments and questions. So just to summarize, internal resources change and how that changed for us in a natural way. And that was also in our word cloud. It is a natural process, but also transparency. So people love us for being real and for being us. But they also like the sneakers. In terms of results, here is what we're building. So our organic journey, sort of harnessing this and figuring out, okay, what do we do? Do we do shirts or garments, or do we want to move into socks? I love socks, by the way. But no, when I open my inbox today, I hear from producers, I hear from recycling facilities, I hear from other brands. People are texting me, they're calling me, and they're saying, hey, Philip, can we not come together? Can we not can we not do a social media campaign, or can we be on your website? And at first I was kind of not confused, but I did not know sort of how to tackle it, because the traditional way is for you to think, okay, other brands, competition. But, and you having seen my slides, you know that my mindset is someplace else. It is about creating meaning. So what we can do is, for the entire supply chain, we can facilitate just that. So we are inviting other brands, producers, of course, distribution channels, and we're coming together. So instead of us shouting from our own different corners, we are building one portal, and one portal only for circular fashion. So to dig a bit deeper, not too deep, but it's basically a repetition of what I said. We are harnessing the knowledge from our journey launching the sneakers. So other ethical and sustainable fashion brands, they won't have to do some mistakes that we did. Because it is about creating value. So as a brand, most brands actually fail. It's sad, and the brands failing, they're actually doing good. They're ethical, they're circular, they're sustainable. And the reason why most fail is because of the marketing situation. So people are spending 30 to 50% of their budgets on marketing. And the problem with that is that they're competing with larger brands. So they're competing to use the same keywords or to reach the same audiences on Facebook, if you like. So it is very pricey. So what we can do here is that we can do a meaningful matchmaking. So we have the users, we have our community into transparency and sustainable fashion. We have brands doing good, and we can connect the dots, and that is how we can lower the marketing costs for the brands, but we can also incentivize the producers. So if we have a sustainable consumption from sustainable brands, well, there are incentives for production units all over the world to go sustainable and to go circular. And of course, we talked about the sneakers. The sneakers are in the system. So our sneakers are equipped with QR codes, so you can easily scan them and you find out what there is to know about your sneakers. So that is transparency for you. I want to show you a second video. So let's pray again for technology. But I believe that a new product always needs a pitch. So here's the pitch for our
The
latest
elevator connects you to the
development.
next generation of entrepreneurs with Orange.
Our Choice launched the world's first circular sneakers in 2020. The sneakers were the start of something bigger. Filip and his team are now building and raising funds for a circular fashion platform together with EY Innovation.
We started Our Choice because there was no choice for truly sustainable fashion. With blockchain technology and a user focus, we connect sustainable products to our community and provide traceability so that you can make a choice for truly sustainable fashion. We sold products for 40,000 euros and secured 100,000 in our current seed round. Together with you, we want to unlock the circular economy in fashion.
Our Choice needs your support to succeed. Walk with them towards a circular economy in fashion by ordering a pair of circular sneakers at ourchoice.eco.
Connection that supports your company's elevation. Orange.
That was the pitch for you. So let me just stop
Entrepreneurs
Orange and RTL for a second, and I can continue with the slide. So is there a question?
There's a question from Teres Foro.
Please.
Can you clarify the process for mending and renewing sneakers? Have you been inspired by Patagonia?
Well, that's a great question. So the process is, if or when something breaks, you send the sneakers back to us and we perform a resoling, and then we send the sneakers back to you. We also exchange the insoles and we put eco cotton laces, a pair of new eco cotton laces on. And we also give your sneaks a nice polish, of course. In terms of inspiration, I think Patagonia is great, but I can also I can see that they provide meaning. So people also find the brand meaningful, and I think that's important. But in terms of inspiration, I'm not really looking to other brands, to be completely honest. I think we need something new. And I think for us to harness what we have in terms of our customer data and our previous marketing efforts and the portal that we're building, that is unique. And I hope that answers your question. And a sort of bonus answer is basically, a lot of people ask me, but Philip, someone can copy you. Someone can also do repairable sneakers. And that's the thing with meaningful innovation. It's not something that you can copy, because it's about the community and it's about the perception of meaningfulness. So I hope you're happy with the answer and the bonus question and answer that I just gave. So what we're doing is right now is fundraising. I'm pitching day and night for investors. We're working with EY Innovation in Luxembourg, super competent team. So lucky to be working with them. In terms of technology, I believe the circular economy is a tech play. This presentation is not about technology, but I do want to mention that we are utilizing blockchain and that we're also doing this with a bottom-up approach. So I'm not looking for software, but I'm looking to actually build something that is meaningful for the brands that we are onboarding and looking at their problems. Okay, how can we increase transparency and how can we improve things for you in supply chain? So we need to be building circles and not squares. And for that to happen, we need to properly assess what it is that we need. Partnerships, that is also something I'm working on. So we have 3 in the pipeline and we'll have 7 by January 2022. So it's about circular and mission-driven brands. If Patagonia wants to call me, we can discuss. But of course, we're looking for all brands. So, you know, smaller, bigger ones. And it's also about the product. So I want to show you this. I'm not going to dig too deep, but just to give you an idea, we're looking to verify products in terms of their claims and their credentials. We focus on the user. So the user is here in the middle. So the idea is that when you buy something, it comes with a QR code. You scan this code and you can find out everything there is to find out. But what I want to do, and if you think about how you purchase products today, either it's retail and you go to the cashier, you pay for your socks or your shirt or whatever it is, and the relationship stops. If you go online, you go onto an e-commerce portal, you check out and you pay with your card and the relationship stops. So what we want, and that is the mission and the purpose of ourchoice.eco, it's for that relationship to start. So that relationship starts when you get the product, because then you become part of the circular supply chain. So you have the options to repair. You can resell your goods, and you can, importantly, also connect to your community, also interested and also carrying or wearing circular fashion from ourchoice.eco. So in sum, I want to say that change is the new normal. Again, I wanted to challenge the status quo, but I ended up being very comfortable with change. So I believe it's becoming very comfortable with the uncomfortable. It's always happening. It will never stop. And it is rewarding if you become comfortable with it. Being meaningful is our most powerful tool. And things change, but a vision stays. So about that, meaning making and having a purposeful business, that can change and we can take different approaches. But people tend to relate to the actual brand and to the core vision. And if you then produce socks or sneakers, well, the vision stays. And so am I. You know, so I've changed many things, but I still want to build the biggest brand on the planet, for example. It's also about the user perspective, the brand perspective. That is what we're marrying on the portal. So I also want to summarize saying that. So we have 2 sort of target audiences. We have the users, putting them at focus, and we have the brands lowering their marketing costs. And if I can give one tip, it is start. Because if you start, you can make an impact. I am still selling sneakers, so I appreciate the sneaker questions. You're also welcome to come down to Royal Hamilius in Luxembourg. I'm not just selling sneakers, but I still am. So if you want to come by our display, we'll get you sorted. And I think that is my closing slide, actually. And here we have it. We have our original vision. We still have the same one today. Our vision is that everyone can make a choice for sustainable fashion. When I started, I couldn't. Our mission is to be the first choice for sustainable fashion, e.g. building the biggest brand on the planet. So that is it from my side. Thanks for listening. It's an honor to be here today, and I look forward to any questions and a discussion.
Yes, we do actually have a question from the audience already, and this was raised by Filip. This was raised by Geoffrey, and he's asking you, nice story, and I fully understand the need for change. Throwaway plastic is not good. Non-repairable products are not sustainable. So your product fits in a circular economy, but how sustainable did your product come to life? How sustainable is the development of your product? And what if the entire industry will shift to organic sneakers? Will that still be sustainable? In other words, how sustainable do you retrieve the raw materials for your product?
That's a great question. And I think I can sort of hear 3 or 4 questions. So I guess we need to look at what we have now. So right now we have 25 billion sneakers being produced each and every year. The lifetime is somewhere between 3 to 12 months. So for our sneakers, we focus on the use period. So of course we use pure raw materials. So high quality that can be in use for an average of 7 years. If they break, like I said, we repair them. But if we can't, we can upcycle using the uppers for keychains or applications for belts. And then if we can't do anything, we can't sort of refurbish, well, we can always recycle. So the sourcing of the materials we produce in the European Union. We have third-party verifications for all our claims being plastic-free, made in Europe. So that is looking at factory audits, etc., and also using natural raw materials. But I think the question is, my perception of the industry is that we need to shift mindsets. So of course I have an ambition of a circular economy, but that is a concept. I see the sneakers being one first step, and I think it truly is because of the use period, and that is unique. And if you think about the CO2 emissions, well, one pair of sneakers will account for 14 kilos of CO2 emissions. So yes, our sneakers are sustainable and circular when it comes to the actual footprint. We also compensate for the offsets. So I think our sneakers are accountable for 11.5 kilos of CO2 emissions. We do clean up and recycle 1 kilo of ocean plastics for each and every pair sold. So to cover for the logistics, we use trucks. But to your point, I think that we can also develop. So we're looking to create local, as local as we can. So we need to manufacture locally, but also for the repair. I would love, and I have a few discussions open with the cobblers in Benelux, for example, because why ship sneakers for repair if we can use local cobblers? So it's a step in the right direction. I hope I answered the questions.
There's a follow-on question to that, which is about fashion industry not being known to be very good in human labor. How do you deal with that problematic?
So being, I think it's a factor of hygiene. So I think it needs to be a factor of hygiene. I think it should be, everyone should pay attention to human rights and to the labor force. So for us, as mentioned, it is about factory audits. It's also about me visiting our facilities, and it is about working closely with the people on the ground. So there's only one way of doing it in my world, and it's actually being there on the spot, but also of course the formalities. So the factory audits, we produce in Portugal. That is a very strong nation when it comes to textile and leather, for example. So we feel very secure, but I think it's a very problematic issue. And also if you think about so much being produced in Asia, for example, and it's such an important way of supporting the industry. And also we're talking about people's lives here. So if we were to move the production from Asia to Europe, that will also cause problems. So it's a complex issue, but it's close to our hearts for sure.
Jeffrey, please feel free to come off mute and continue the discussion if you'd like. I see you have a follow-up question that it's more than hygiene, it's about well-being and health and doing something about poverty. So we can make it more interactive if you'd like.
Yes, I will try to come online, but I'm not in the perfect setting. I'm sitting outside, living in a small apartment, having my children inside, taking my floor space. So, so that's why I'm trying to give my contributions over the chat. But yes, indeed. So I have indeed a lot of concerns about, you know, the fashion industry on how they actually manufacture and develop their products. So, and I think indeed that the industry can, well, let's say, can do more than what they have to do. So yes, I'm very happy to see that you're focusing on circular economy and products that you can repair and not having waste, and that is very important. But of course, also development is very important. So the well-being of people, the poverty of people. We know that a lot of items are manufactured in Asia in very poor conditions. So that was actually also my question. So how did you cope with that, and what are you doing actively about that? Because I think that's also a very important aspect of the whole chain.
I agree 100%. And I think it's, so if we think about, and I love, and I see France is doing so well in terms of regulations and actually reinforcing what we need. So we want to reach the development goals, right, in terms of sustainability, but we need that to happen top down, but also bottom up. So what I do, and that's a crowdfunding for you, it's about a grassroots movement. So it's about users saying, hey, we want something else, and we can provide them with something better. Talking about the sneakers, so something that is ethical, sustainable, circular. But we also need regulations, and we need governments to be working on this full time if we are to reach the goals, but also if we are to take care of everyone involved, because it is very complex. It's not only about factory audits and moving production units. And I think that we need more regulations, and we need more reinforcements. But what we do is, of course, that's why we produce in Portugal. So what we can do is that we can spread the word, we can build a community, and we can help voice these concerns. So I look forward to doing more of just that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Geoffrey, for raising this question. Brian had a very interesting suggestion or idea. Go ahead. And
you're in Luxembourg, right? Luxembourg Live. Is it true what I hear, that everybody at Luxembourg Live tonight gets a free pair of your sneakers? And Saskia's already modeling them as well. Is that right?
It's not.
What do you mean? I'm seeing the boxes right here.
I think that's something for the live event. So I would be happy to do a pop-up display with PMI. That would be a dream come true. But no sneakers tonight, unfortunately.
I will blow my catering out.
Thank you for that. May I ask you another question? And please don't take this in the negative way. Maybe it's circling in everyone's mind and no one is saying it. We love the idea with the sustainable approach and that we can wear our sneakers for many years to come. But what happens if you have another better idea and the sneakers drop out of business? What happens with the guarantee that our sneakers will get repaired in this case? How can we be sure that in 3 years, we still have someone there to send our sneakers to and get them resold?
That's a great question. And I think it's a matter of trust. I'm very honored to have that trust and that people indeed believe in us. And what I've been talking about today, meaning and providing that meaning, it is a privilege. I will take care of the sneakers for as long as I live, if that means something. But obviously change, we never know what's going to happen. what we do know is that these sneakers are very long lasting because we have used premium raw materials. So if or when they break, your local cobbler should also be able to take care of them and repair them for you. So if you can do that, let's say, but I don't believe in expecting the negative outcome. I feels very natural to me. But my point is, the sneakers are of great quality, so you can wear them. That's what I have to say. And you're feel free to call me at any point, even if I go out of business, and we'll have a chat.
What if you buy a house to the Hawaii and stop picking up your phone? That was just a joke, of course, to wrap up on the question.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, it's sure.
Actually, related to this, here in my city, here in Flanders, in Belgium, and I think it's across the country, perhaps, or perhaps at least across the region. We have these repair cafes. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the concept.
Yes,
but
yes.
I think it's organized from the city itself, or from from the government. And there, some volunteers, they help you out in repairing your stuff which got broken at some point in time, to get them into a new life. So it's a really wonderful idea. And I think indeed, if we're also now building products that we can wear and also can repair at some moment in time, of course, it already exists. When you have a little hole in your sweater, you can decide to throw it away, or you can decide to have it repaired. But sneakers was a little bit a problem. So I'm really convenient that indeed we will find these local shops or bars or cafes where we can have everything repaired in the end. But it's about making your product indeed repairable, and that's the big challenge in our current economy.
But there's some good news coming there as well, because this was part of the research for the theme as well. There's new legislation. I'm not sure whether it was circulated as part of our pre-publicity, but there's new legislation coming from the EU, which is to actually make things more repairable. Because there's been some complaints from the repair cafes, washing machines, microwaves, some of the faults that make them unusable are easy repairable in theory, but because they're made with one piece disposable or what have you, you can't actually take them apart and replace the microde or whatever it is that's gone. So a bit like what they did with the cables that was again blocked by some industries, or they tried to standardize the USB and the micro USB. They're now introducing legislation to make sure that all of your all of the stuff that you make is actually repairable, so that it can extend the life rather than it stopped working, throw it away. So there is some good news coming in that way, and I think that's an excellent initiative as well.
Yeah. No, and I think and also that, thanks for that comment. I think that says so much. We need the top down, and we need the grassroots movement, and hopefully that's why we're all here. Like, we want to reach our goals, and we want to achieve change in the industry. But for the workshops and the upcycling and the recycling, that is exactly the kind of initiatives that we're also looking to onboard to our choice.eco, to also provide that. And if you have a good quality, if you have a good piece of fashion, you can always repair it, and you can always use it for something else. And I've been talking to cobblers in Benelux for quite some time, but if you want to give me the name of the workshop, very interested in also having a chat with them and see how we can come together locally.
Yes, Brian, and indeed, it's a difficult, it's a subject actually, because I understand that it gets quite some resistance from the manufacturers, because of course at a certain moment they say, okay, this is the core of the product. So if you open it, then we will not be able to give you the warranty anymore. So and also the intellectual property, because at some point then you can easily reverse engineer actually the product and make a copy or a similar product out of it. But also with software, it goes up to certain limits, because not everything is open source, but sometimes things are buggy and broken. So also there with digital products, it's a big challenge actually. But of course there we have less the impact on the eco, on the environment with software. But
I think, I totally agree. And I think if we have just that, we have a sustainable consumption and a sustainable production and sustainable if we have sustainable consumption and sustainable brands being able to survive, because it is very competitive, we can also incentivize the production units, because right now everyone is still, the industry is 97% linear, and production units, they're still looking for volumes, they're looking for quantities. If I call someone and say, hey, I want to produce sneakers, they will ask you for quantities of 1,000, 2,000, tens of thousands. So, and still we have the green marketing going on. So people believe sometimes that they are doing something good because there is a green price tag on it. So I think the software that we have can help us. And if we can help also to provide meaning, to make something meaningful, even if the technology exists, it's also something that is harder to copy. But I think we'll see multiple similar ideas and projects in the coming 5-10 years. And I welcome everyone. I think it would be great for people to copy us, honestly, because then we could also increase sustainable consumption and responsible production. So more of this, please. And if you have ideas, feel free to connect on LinkedIn, and we can also have a chat.
It's a good point, Jeffrey, again, but I think it was a bit like Kodak saying that, the physical cameras are going to be around forever and nobody's moving to digital, they'll stick with film. People that want to block and protect the old business model, I think, compared to those that are innovative, those that take the leap, the younger generations these days want to see sustainability, they want to see eco-conscious, and they'll probably pay for that as well. So although they may be vulnerable, a bit like the open source in providing their products, and that they could be easily swapped or what have you, the kudos they get, the respect that they get for being sustainable and repairable will get them the market share that they need. So it'll be interesting to see how that evolves.
I think also, and what we're looking to do is, of course, also to your point, to gamify and to work with tokenization. I mean, I believe that fashion needs to be about fun. It needs to be about pleasure. And that is about engagement, and it is about the community. So that also needs to happen. It's not only about technology and production and thinking about, okay, how can we be sustainable, but it needs to be attractive, because otherwise no one will care. Our minds are built that way. We're always looking for the easy way out. We're looking to avoid stress. If something is a bit complicated or boring or beige, we just don't do it.
That's a great idea. I'm thinking PMP trainers is already jumping into my mind for the next conference. I think that could be awesome. PMP trainers. There we go.
There we go.
Okay, so if there's any more questions, Filip, as he said, reach out on LinkedIn. Great story. Very, very good to have you on board and rounding off the week. For those of you in Luxembourg, I hear from the co-host and support, the party in the lobby has already started. Filip, hang up, get out there, enjoy a drink, have fun with all of your colleagues in Luxembourg. For those of you that aren't going online or aren't in Luxembourg, we have one last session, particularly for Belgian members, to meet the invisible president. In fact, has been very visible this week, Jacques. I posted the link for that earlier on. So we're just about running out of time. Filip, again, thank you very much. Awesome story. Best of luck. And when you're the next Elon Musk, a multi-billionaire, be it in Hawaii or wherever, I still hope you'll come and do a virtual online session for us in the PM Fair.
If I ever go to Hawaii, I will still be repairing the sneakers. I promise y'all. So no, thank you for having me. It's been an honor and a pleasure, and I hope to see you all soon. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your evening and a good weekend.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.